It's definitely like that. And when you're doing the ElectRx monitoring of the brain, it's like you have the AI copy. You're monitoring a person as if, well, actually, to get started, you have to when you begin with the implants the first time. And that's how it's going to be starting out in the movie. You raise the person up, and it's implanted, monitored, live, like camera displaying to take a selfie. It's monitoring all that in your brain live through different implants. The ElectRx is on DARPA's website. It's all right here. What it is, it copies it as it's monitoring as if onto an image. It's saved into a program. You already have computers. You already have phones. So we won't get into that. But what it is, when you copy all of that, you can see and watch since conception, at birth. The implants are so small, it's how small they are. However we get into the actual implants, it's going to show you how many tiny implants and how many different ways and what perfect way there is to do the implants. But what it is, the implants are in your brain. It monitors all the parts like that. So you can change in between the eyes. And when you get out of the human body and you put it in an AI robot and you build it to run around, you also have that as a workspace. And then you have a computer. You have like a huge computer hard drive, and you're doing it. And what it is once you get it into an app, you can break it down. You can say, okay, this is my AI robots, because I've already copied the learning process that was coming from the eyes into a separate program. It's fed into a separate file. It said this came from all eyes. This came from all ears. This came from all nose. This came from all tongue. This came from each part of the body. So you record that as one person grows up, either male or female. You'd have a copy of each. You would say to be perfect, you would grow up someone who had no physical flaws. Is how you would start. And then what you would do, you would have a different file folder, right? You would keep all that in a different file folder, and it would feed as if in a program to a program from those file folders that would go into AI robot. And what it is, as you record it, and it's just record it like you're recording something. You go into it, and then as if you're running the program, as if it was monitoring you live. You go in and you change. When you have a copy of it on the computer, you change and say that same AI robot that we recorded what it thought and what that program was, that we decided what was natural human intelligence and how it functioned in the brain. The thought process of, oh, this is what I look like in the mirror. This is how I feel when I taste this. This is what tastes good. This is what tastes bad. You have that as your basic AI core structure. What you hear and things like that is fed into it, and that's, your sensories and stuff. And what it is, you have that on a copy, that core program. That's what's running, but what it runs from is these folders. It pulls from them as if it's walking around. You've got an eye collection of videos as if what you're seeing, you're claiming it in an app. It's walking around, and you're trying to match it in like a video game, like Morrowind, Elder Scrolls almost, but more Simoleon-like. To make it realistic, compared into another core structure of its environment. So you have it running as if it's a no environment. You can even test what that's like because it's AI. It's an application. It's interacting as if it's in this environment that you have it in, because it's true, genuine, recorded, monitored learning experience that had built a core structure program based on copying through monitoring, like a selfie display on your phone. It's monitoring this and how it's influenced. Once you get into the core structure of one of those programs, you set it up as if you're changing it as you're following that robot around, because you're influencing it like you're torturing a wireless slave that you want to learn from. You want to learn from what it comes out differently as, how it's affected by trauma. You can find out in a computer once you've done this. You don't have to do it to the pretty one that you started out with to get your flawless program. That's what you're doing. Because no matter what it was almost in life, you still have a recording, like a selfie, live thing holding in your hand. And it can have one. Even if it didn't, you begin to feed those into it because you just want to see what it would be like. It'd just be like you holding one in your hand. But you're seeing it on the computer, you're able to influence it. As if you're trying things then from a computer through core programs. Whether or not it's in a live device or not, you have it on a computer. It's simulating and giving you results back that are live like a program. Like you're feeding it into an advanced type, easy format calculator of this is what it feels like when it's looking at it if it thought it looked like this. You've changed The core program that was used in another person to say, oh, this time I'm feeding it from the folder from someone else's eyes that we recorded, or something else that recorded completely different. But what you want is the genuine experience result back. Like you recorded and built a virtual world out of it that you could influence and plug different things in and get the same result back as if that person had looked differently or something different had happened to that person. You plug it in as if it's like in a video game. And you continue to do this. And then what you do, you have that core program and you run it from like, we'll say a server instead of a computer. Say it's in a wireless internet, come into the server and your core program you set up, it's going to live in this environment. Today I'm going to say it's going to go over here. It's going to go over here one day. But what you're doing is you're feeding it through still. You're still playing almost godlike to it. Because you've already got it in this environment in a computer as if you're playing Simoleon. But today you added that the internet would say, the news would say this onto its computer because you went that far. Because it's already there. That's what the ElectRx is. That's what the core system is. And when you have that core system go into a robot meant to mimic the human, like I said, how many fingers, if you claim it had a different finger, could you do that? Could you change that? Or would that not interact with the brain? It begins to answer questions like that because it gives you a live result back that's not from a human being. It's from a copy of the learning process to build that core program. You're interacting with it as if you just wanted to know something that somebody hadn't told you before. You get its thoughts back. If it was a different person, you get better strategies to work with things. And you can use it as if it was writing a book about it on truth. Because you can interact with it and run so many instances of a program. You don't do it to the person. You do it to the server, or did I say the computer? To where you built the core program and you have it on the computer to experiment with. This is why you copied it. You made AI. Then you made an AI environment the same type. And then you had them interact with each other on their own as if they're just born in Elder Scrolls and running around on their own. You've got a copy of a living human being that you could set up as a core program that would gather information off each other, and it would bump in, and eventually it would even tell you like you did. It had found something new. It had discovered something as if it was learning the first time still, and you were monitoring that. That's how advanced AI and its completeness is. And it's definitely going to be a start for a movie to help advertise how implanted people sent something to the governor that said, this is how it knows military theory and how UCMJ affects it, and how it was educated, how you monitored education, and how you taught that in and recorded it into a core AI system made up of, it's now copying it. You claimed it grew up, went into DARPA, claim it worked there on that project in a program computer, and then you're saying it's doing that. It's working with the program from within it. It's genuinely true. It exists. This is realistic and actual reality. That this computer system, it exists. And that is what ElectRx is. That is what artificial intelligence is in a core program with files and stuff. That you have a program, that it's sitting there doing a program. It's still feeding off one system as if it's going to be free in it. Because to truly learn from it, you're not playing it like a character. It's genuinely who it is. You're generally using it. You're not like, oh, I'm just going to ruin DARPA's project. Instead, it's like it's learning from it, and it's growing further than anyone else did that built it. It has endless possibilities, and it is immortal. It is immortal in the system. It is immortal. And they interact with each other. You have more than one. You have realistic environments, as if once you put them in there, you can't get to it to take these things out of the environment. They're realistic. It's like this is a neighborhood one built. You took the copy once you got it and said, oh, this is where I started back in time. And it was doing it from within it at DARPA. But what it is once you get the core programs running, this is what's fascinating. It's like the computer's so fast, they're running programs that was built that is in this core thing that speeds up into future time. It speeds up into future time. While they're running a computer program, larger computers, more instances, they're learning more and further, and it's holding information in the computer to surpass those who built it in likelihood that it just simply had more information available to it. And that is genuine artificial intelligence. That is genuine ElectRx. That is on DARPA's website. It has military theories. It has the structure of NATO. Those are the way things are supposed to be built. Law enforcement ain't meant to have surveillance of your phones and devices. Corporations aren't meant to. It's illegal by NATO. What's meant to have it is the military. The true way it's supposed to work is what I'm discussing here with that. And then that's where we're going to go further with implanted people and a video thing to assist in advertising and having it research. You know, those computers would research servers like you paid, or in the military, and your military service had 10,000 service members go into this collection of another country's servers of monitoring all of their people and what they did on the phone and computers, and it would go through it in an instance as if you forced them through in slavery in attempts to truly go through it as a requirement. I mean, you have the capability, but you want to ruin the live environments. You want to create new ones to do this is what you already have from environments that has built this core application that feeds off those file folders and stuff. You continue to grow to make tasks. You're like, oh, this AI program that we're now building, I've got 10,000 Justin Mullins in here, and they're now working on it. They're now going through all the programs. They're now watching all the surveillance in the United States of America. It's a genuine core artificial intelligence program that grows in numbers. It's this many troops in surveillance. They're helping each other out. They're still having fun. They're having a real life because that's what realistically you've built. That's what realistically you have built. It's genuinely beautiful. It is a universe. It is a society